guys? Week 2 is in the books. We started out just by talking a little bit about how as soon as you're born, there's a crust that starts to form over the heart that God gave you, the purpose that God put in you, the direction He wants you to go with your life, the things He wants you to accomplish, and the longer that we let that the longer we don't live an intentional life, or in life of removing that crust off of us, the longer and the more forms and the more hides what actually God created us to be, and at some point and some down the road we actually become something totally different than what we were actually designed to be, and only an intentional life will cause you to rip off the crust that's trying to mask who you really are. And so moving in community with people, getting help when you need to, being vulnerable in the right places, getting in a group, going through this kind of thing, being honest with yourself, going to church, getting your relationship right with God, all of those things are all things that help rip the crust off. And the sooner you can get in to start doing that, the less pain you'll have to endure by ripping that off. I mean, all of us have some kind of crust over our heart that tries to mask who we really are in Christ. And again, just the more time you can spend with your Creator, the better off you'll be in trying to keep that crust off. Don't go too long without pulling it off. A lot of us weren't taught how to live this type of life, how to live an intentional life by our parents. A lot of us don't understand or don't know how to, and that's exactly what this group is formed to do, is to teach you how to and teach me how to, and then just being intentional about getting into a place where you can keep your heart clean. You can rip off those things that are hanging you up or hurting you, or habits or whatever that might be, and you'll repair relationships. You won't be so concerned about what other people think about you. You'll be concerned about what God thinks about you. You won't be so worried or ashamed of what of who you are. You may not like what you've done in the past, but the difference is that either I've done some bad things, or I am a bad person. Those are two totally different things, and we want to get you to a point where, hey, I know I've done some bad things in my life, some things that I'm not proud of, but I'm not a bad person, and God is the only one that can just bring you into that type of thinking. So step 1 is now in the books. Hopefully, if you didn't, go back and answer every question on step 1. That's where the work is. I mean, these aren't easy questions, but do them. Okay, just do them. I can't give you any other more advice than that, but to do them. I mean, sit down and think about it. But the first thing that comes to mind is okay to write down. Some of the questions that I actually highlighted was, like, number 2 says, why do I try to escape from, or what do I try to escape from? What do I feel trapped by? So these aren't easy questions, but they're good questions, right? They're things that are going to make you think about yourself and invest in yourself enough so that you can be a blessing to others, so that you can pour out to others. Don't pour out to others if you're empty inside. It's just going to hurt you more. Figure out what fills you up. And by doing these types of things, you'll get to know yourself, and you're going to spend time with yourself and time with God. And that's the only way to be completely fulfilled. Another question I highlighted was, what's so scary about telling the truth? Such a simple question, but what's so scary about telling the truth? What are the results of pride in my life? And I want you to don't answer these surface. Don't be surface about your answers. I mean, really think about it. What keeps you from telling the truth? What scares you about telling the truth? I mean, is it because you don't like what the truth is? How do I regard myself as being a little more important than other people? What makes me think I'm in control of anything? When have my attitude shown that I believe I know better than God? I don't know anybody who's never thought, I don't know anybody who would say I've never thought that, like I know a little bit better. Or my actions at least show that I know a little bit better than God. I'm gonna do it my way. What kind of people do I hang around with and trust? People who criticize or people who encourage truth? People who challenge me. What things in the past? What happened in the past that still provokes fear in me today? When do I feel the most cared for? What do I see in my life that reveals God's care for me? The last one I wrote down was, what will it take for me to listen to God? Guys, work through these. Make sure you're caught up. Work through the step 1 questions, and then move on to step 2. Next week we're going to talk about step 2. Step 2 is we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. Read the narrative in the book and answer those questions. Answer them well, and we'll start discussion on that next week. I can't wait to see you. I love you. You're awesome. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.